All right, negative effects on your health. So when it comes to sleep, like I said in the beginning, like sleep affects everything. Leptin and Grelin there. So those are hormones in our body that basically create hunger and then also the ability to feel full. And so I'm sure, as you guessed, like people that have issues with sleep, they tend to basically binge on sugar. They tend to overeat and try to get energy from foods that they tend to not get from their sleep. I think this is also where people that oftentimes have some type of sleep problems, often will have issues with like a insulin response, type 2 diabetes. And a lot of this just has to do with like our hormones being affected, and they're downregulated because we're not getting what we want from sleep. And as a result, like our body is smart and it's going to look for different ways to go get the energy we need. And as a result of doing that, we're often choosing foods that are high in sugar or caffeine, which only lead us to more crashes, in issues with insulin, and then issues falling asleep at nighttime. Some of the other things that I said were, it really affects the hormones. And when it comes to like weight loss, cardiovascular disease, all these things, there is insane amounts of studies, especially as it comes to, people have basically issues with sleeping. What ends up happening when we sleep, we get nitric oxide, which is basically taken in through our nose, and we bring this down in through the lungs. And this is like our natural, basically, blood pressure medication. So when we have issues either breathing through the nose or just breathing well throughout the night, what tends to happen is we don't get our blood pressure medication that helps calm and regulate and reset our nervous system. So then we have an inflamed body that's basically got a sympathetically driven nervous system because we don't recover from the day before, and then take that building day after day after day. And before you know it, we have this chronically sympathetic nervous system that we can't get to calm down. And then as a result, we're more sensitive to light stimuli, stress. And then it's like creates this cycle that we can't get out of. And then it's kind of like when people get older, they're like, well, I don't understand. And you're like, well, all these things have been present along the way. People just typically tend not to see them for what they are. And then I think all it takes is someone sitting down and asking some good questions. But, people start to understand like, holy shit, like all this stuff really has a big effect on my health. And especially for those with weight loss, I think sometimes, people, especially with OSA, they'll have pockets of fat in their throat, which prevents them from breathing so well, kind of basically helps kind of fill the airway with space, leaving less room for the tongue, which makes it harder to pass air. So then it's like this cycle where it's like, well, our throats get fat deposits in them. It's harder to breathe. So then as a result, I don't sleep as well. I wake up, I'm using donuts and candy and caffeine to get through my day, and it becomes this vicious cycle that oftentimes can kind of be nipped in the butt earlier on, or at least kind of approached differently